a summary of the news.
At just after 9:30, and the Children's Commissioner for England has said that a gadget used widely by police and councils to disperse teenagers should be banned. The device, known as the Mosquito, emits a high-pitched noise only audible to people under the age of 20. Campaigners say the effect of the device is indiscriminate and can be distressing to young people, but the manufacturers say it's harmless.
Headlines quarter to 10, and a gadget used widely by police and councils to disperse teenagers.
It's 10 o'clock. The headlines on BBC News 24. The high-pitched weapon used to tackle yob culture is under fire from campaigners. The Children's Commissioner says the Mosquito should buzz off.
Now, our top story, the Children's Commissioner for England is calling for an ultrasonic security device known as the Mosquito to be banned.
It emits a high-pitched noise which the manufacturers claim can only be heard by those under 25. Critics say it's an ineffective way of tackling antisocial behaviour and that it demonises young people.
It's getting louder, isn't it?
This is Corby in Northamptonshire, and these young people can hear a sound which they say makes it very clear they aren't welcome in this shopping area. If you're over 25, age-related hearing loss means you probably can't hear what's bothering them. But this is the tone which is being given off by a Mosquito, an ultrasonic device designed to combat antisocial behaviour by moving teenagers on.
It gives me a headache and it can make me feel sick if I'm left too long.
Somebody's causing trouble in a particular area, they will just be causing trouble 25 metres down the road. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're just targeting young people.
They say it infringes the rights of the majority of young people who aren't troublemakers. Their national campaign has the backing of the Children's Commissioner for England, who can ensure their voices are heard at the highest level. But this is the sort of antisocial behaviour which it's claimed the Mosquitoes are helping combat. The makers maintain they don't harm health and are only on for a maximum of 20 minutes.
If there's a group there that are standing outside the shop wearing hoodies, drinking, smoking, swearing, having a go at customers coming in, asking them to buy fags and alcohol, then what the shop owner is within his rights really to try and move them on.
But in Corby at least, the council has already agreed to switch off its Mosquitoes and is instead putting money into more sport and youth clubs locally. Alison Holtz, BBC News, Corby.
The campaign has already had some success. Joining us from our central London studios, Barry, who's with a group of other teenagers that have succeeded in stopping the use of Mosquito devices in Corby. We saw him in that report. Barry, good morning to you.
Good morning.
What's the problem with it? Why don't you like it?
I don't like it because it's discriminatory towards young people, because it only targets people under the age of 25, which could mean any young person.
Now, what do you say to those who say, well, look, all we're doing here is moving the problem elsewhere? There are antisocial youths out there, and if this is one way for shopkeepers and people to carry on without that sort of problem, then they're happy to live with it.
What the shopkeepers also need to consider is that is their customers as well, so they'll end up losing out on money by moving young people along, because even if they go in the shop, they'll still hear the device.
And how are you running your campaign? Who are you targeting?
Well, we're targeting anyone who disagrees with the Mosquito device, try and change their opinion, try and get them so they agree with us, because frankly I just think they're terrible.
Other than them being uncomfortable, what is there any other issue? Why do you think this is particularly demonising young people?
Because it's only aimed at people under the age of 25. If it was aimed at anyone and adults, then everyone would be upset about it, but because it's young people, no one really cares.
But Barry, you know that a lot of people watching this are going to be saying, well, hang on a minute, the problem on our streets tend to be the under 25s, and if this is one way of dealing with it, then so be it.
Well, there's adults that cause trouble as well, because there's a lot of antisocial behaviour caused by adults outside pubs when they come out as well.
If, I don't know, if you had a friend who was a shopkeeper and they were having problems with use, how would you tackle it?
I'd use things like CCTV cameras, because that picks up whoever's causing the problem, and detached youth workers would work because they can go and talk to the young people, find out what they need and see what the problem is.
Do you understand how older people feel if they see a group of 10, 12, 15 younger people walking along towards them, that there is that element of fear?
Well, young people have that fear as well, and I know that antisocial behaviour is a problem, and just don't believe that Mosquito devices are the way to tackle it.
Other than walking along streets and gathering outside shops, how do you all... is there enough for you to do out there? Is that essentially the problem?
Well, there isn't actually enough to do. where I live, there's a youth club that's only on one night a week, but whereas if it was on every night of the week, then we'd have more to do.
Well, what sort of things, Barry, would make life better for under 25s? Because there is a feeling that if we can get that right, perhaps we solve the antisocial problem as well.
Well, I need to have more youth agencies, places for young people to go, to just sit and have fun with their friends, play pool, watch TV, play computer games and stuff.
So we're talking really about old youth clubs?
Yeah.
And do you really think that would help, that you all have somewhere that you can all gather, have a bit of fun, and you're not causing a nuisance to anyone else?
Yeah, honestly, I do believe that is a good idea.
What about that there are in any group, and adults have the same, a group where it only takes 2 or 3 disruptive members and you have a gang and it spirals out of control. There is a concern that if you get a group of more than 10 youngsters together, you're heading down that road. Can that be stopped, or do you feel that we perhaps are being unfair to youngsters?
Well, I think people are being unfair by installing the mosquito devices, because just because there's a group of people, they could be there for any reason. They could be waiting for another friend to come to the shop, so they can meet up and go somewhere else.
Yeah. Do you think adults just don't get youngsters anymore?
Well, I just don't reckon they understand what it's like anymore, because times have changed.
Times have changed, and we've perhaps forgotten that youngsters like to gather, like to do things together, and if the facilities are there, you'd use them.
Yeah.
OK, but I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed for that. And I know we're going to get a lot of response to that. 61124 if you want to text us on this. We're already getting a massive response on this subject.
But we'll leave that to one side, because I do want to ask you about one other related issue that's very much leading our news agenda this morning, and that is this Mosquito high-pitched sound, which is obviously designed to keep young people, or groups of young people, away from shopping centres and other areas by people who think that they're causing a nuisance. Now, the Children's Commissioner is saying that this is unacceptable, that it's demonising young people. Do you have a view on it?
Well, the first thing to say is that this is trying to replace with technology what should be done by the forces of law and order, by police. I mean, a mosquito device, whatever it does do, can't tell youngsters they shouldn't be gathering, or tell youngsters they can't be misbehaving in a certain way and change their behaviour. That's the first thing to say. I mean, this is actually a problem that should not arise in the first place. Beyond that, I mean, my sympathies are more, frankly, with the shopkeepers than with the Commissioner. I mean, there's clearly some reason for them to be used sensibly, maybe not to be left on all the time and so on. But the counter to it, I mean, and what the shopkeeper would say, I would imagine, is, well, if we don't have this, we'll end up with graffiti, we'll end up with damage, we'll end up even with our customers being intimidated. That's why these shopkeepers have done it. They don't do this to drive away youngsters who might be customers. They do it because they've got a problem. So maybe there's a question about how they should be used. Maybe the Commissioner should focus on, when they should not be switched on all the time, for example, as I know some are, because I've heard about it. But I have to say, it's a problem that's created by the lack of enforcement of the law, and that's why we have to make this difficult call between the shopkeepers' rights and the youngsters' rights.
David Davis, thank you.